So in today's lesson, we're going to look at the hand path during the kind of top of the backswing, the start of the downswing, kind of, let's say, ribcage up to ribcage down. Now, the hand path is a real sexy word topic in the golf tuition industry at the moment, and it's something that I certainly talk a lot about with my players. So the journey of the hands, obviously if we move the hands correctly, the shaft follows, the club head follows. There are things we want to do with the wrists also, which help these directions, but if we can get the hands in the right position in terms of, let's call it 3D space, it's really going to help you perform better. So what we're looking at really is the journey of these hands from here up and down. And we have a lot of common mistakes with golfers. A lot of golfers will tend to get the hands, what I would say, is working out too much at the start and then dragging in too much in the mid phase, kind of the upper backswing phase. And then as we start down, work on this kind of chain reaction. So they kind of go out, in, over. And it's all a way of sense of balance, right? If your hands go too far away from you, what happens is you're either going to start to topple over or then you start to bring your hands back in. And the same thing, if your hands are in too much at the top of the backswing, you'll want to bring your hands out. And once you start that train, that direction of journey, it's very difficult then to put the brakes on it and recover. The key thing is to make sure the hands are in the right kind of area in the top of the backswing, kind of ribcage up, and then they have the right journey and direction on the way down. I think for years, a lot of sort of tuition used to talk about from the top of the swing, pull the chain down. Now for me, this gets the hands in too much depth on the downswing. And albeit this is a concept will suit certain golfers that go way forward, it's not technically the right specific position to be in. It's not necessarily something I won't say to a golfer though, it's something I've said in videos to help fix over the top moves. It's something you might need to feed if you need it. But in an ideal scenario, we'll move this stick actually to the ball, what we want to see is from, let's say, halfway up, as the hands go to the top now, I want to see these hands kind of stay in front of your bicep. So this would be too deep. This would be about right. And then to the top of the swing, these want to be somewhere around about the shoulder, okay? Now, as we start down from there, and this is important key, look at the yellow rod here. If I pull a chain down, that yellow rod comes way inside that yellow stick on the ground. I want to see this yellow rod go towards that yellow rod on the ground. That would be the correct kind of hand path. And I also liken it towards, it's heading towards my sternum. Okay. So I quite often will draw a line from the hands to the sternum, and I want it to track that line. So the hands end up somewhere just in front of my toe line, somewhere around about there. Again, pull a chain down, the hands go towards my heel line, be too much. If my hands go out towards this yellow line, you'll see here, they go away from my sternum and way outside my feet. So we're looking for the hands to work really in what I would class as a diagonal direction towards the golf ball, or towards my foot, golf ball, this kind of phased area here. And the key is from the top of the backswing, the hands will actually slightly move further away from the ball initially, slightly. The wrist angles will change slightly. So the wrist angles will change their rotation and flexion a little bit. So the shaft pitch gets shallower, and then the hands come down on that kind of sternum line towards my toes. Again, throwing them out or throwing them back are both bad. The guys that get it in here too much can quite often then end up getting trapped, throw the arms out to the right and flick at the ball. The guys that obviously come way over, that's probably even worse because it's weaker. But both are particularly not ideal. So the idea would be halfway back, if you let the hands almost stay in front of you is the word I would use, but they're kind of, again, around about your sternum line, and turn, and as you turn, that gives you that little bit more depth. So I haven't tried to get my hands deeper there, I've just turned, and then from there on the way down, ideal world, if I had this stick in place, I'd want to go slightly above the stick on the ground. That allows the rotation in the arms and wrist to change, and also allows my hands just to go slightly under the path they've gone back on. then work more towards my toe line and cross these sticks a little bit there at that point. So that would be what I'd want you to work on. A lot of slow-mo stuff, use some sticks. Sticks are ideal. And when you go to the golf ball, again, slow-mo. Get it somewhere around about your toes. If it goes too much out, that's no good. I have a tendency to get my hands a little bit too out, if I'm honest. That'd be quite nice. That felt nice and controlled. It felt solid. It was definitely more intentful than a normal golf swing would be for me. Less flowing and more intentful. But the idea is really just to rehearse, trust and go and have one simple thought, whether it's your toe line or just your hands making that slight loop. So it's definitely a slight loop in there if we can. They don't change much. We drew lines on the screen. There wouldn't be a huge amount of change, but there's definitely a slight shallowing without pulling the chain down. That's the key thing. So try and get your hands moving the right way to make you control this club head, control that path through the ball as best you can. Hope you've enjoyed that take on the hand path. Some simple little things you can look at, but also trying to use things like your toes and alignment rods to give you some feedback and directions to get your club traveling in the right slot during the swing. If you have enjoyed the video, please click like and share the video. Share it to anyone else you think it will help. I'm sure they'll want to see it. Also, please post questions or comments and feedback down below. Help me drive the channel in the direction that's going to help your golf as much as we can. Thank you for tuning in today and my Edgbaston Golf Club today. Many thanks to them during this difficult time. And I hope wherever you are, you're staying safe. And please can you also subscribe if you can and hit the notifications button. See you again here soon. Stay safe.